Okay, guys, so welcome to our first session for programming for network engineers. And in this session, we're going to be looking at a few things in say Python and why we think we can use it for programming. Sorry, we could use it for network engineering. So I would say that programming is just a way to send instructions to a machine. So basically, normally what we do as human beings is that we interact with computers, whether we're using a mouse, whether we're using, say, keyboard, writing CLI or anything. All we're doing is we're sending some instructions to a computer. And so programming is exactly what this is. It's just sending instructions to a computer, but automating it. Sometimes it will be more than a computer, it could be any machine. There's so many different languages in this world, and I decided to just speak about a few of them. So there's Python, there's Java, there's C++, there's JavaScript. There are other ones as well. But in our session, we're going to be looking at Python. So in this day, I would say programming is something that's very, very important, whichever area you're working in, whether you're working in the bank, whether you're working in a software company, or even the hospitals or agriculture, whether you want to do some machine learning on AI, even in education, we use a lot of programming. And the one that really, really matters to us most will be network and infrastructure automation and orchestration. So basically what we do in networking is we write commands or we use a GUI to send instructions to devices. And so with the help of programming, we could do that without touching the computer, or going to the device directly. All we have to do is to write some scripts, and the scripts would send some information to the system. So before you could do any programming, you need to have more like a development environment. So basically, at least everyone would have a laptop, and on the laptop, there should be that space where you could do your programming. And on the laptop, you need to install the editor, or if it were going to be something like a letter, you would be using Microsoft Word. So if it's going to, because we're doing programming, we're going to be using an editor. And in this session, I'll show you which editor I will ask you or prefer that you use so that we have some kind of consistency in our lessons. Now, the editor we're going to be using is the IDE. So we call that Integrated Development Environment. So basically, it's just a software that can help you write the code. So it's a code editor. It can help you compile the code or debug the code. And it can also help you to think about some kind of designing. So basically, it's like a one-stop shop where you write the code. The code will be debugged. If there are any errors, the debugger will help you to find the error. So you don't have to worry your head too much. If something is not working, the system will tell you that, oh, your code, there's a problem with your code, you need to fix it. And the compiler is what translates whatever you write in a particular language, say Python. It will translate it into some kind of machine language, which will be sent to the machine for easy access, or for the computer to be able to understand what you're trying to pass across. Now, there are so many of the development environments or IDEs that are in the market. So there's Visual Studio Code, there is Visual Studio itself, so Visual Studio Code, Visual Studio, there is NetBeans, there's PyCharm, IntelliJ, Eclipse. All of them are good, and some of them are good for certain things. But for our sessions, we're going to be using Visual Studio Code. The reason why I chose Visual Studio Code is because it's more like, I would want to call it one of the industry standards for programming, because it has a lot of extensions. It can make your life easy. And this is how it looks like, the symbol of Visual Studio Code. So there will be a file attached to your slides to show you or guide you to install Visual Studio Code. And yes, now,
so we install.
So after you go to the website and you install Python on your system, Am I sharing my screen?
Yeah, you are sharing your screen, yeah,
Okay,
correct?
so when you do that,
No,
and
no,
you
it's gone. I think you are using two screen, huh? So please make sure which one you are sharing with us.
okay,
Now it's not showing.
1 second. Let me. Is it showing now?
Yeah, it's showing now. Yeah, correct.
Okay, so now if you type after you install and you type the IDE or ID, you will see that you have the what's it called, the editor, which comes with Python. So once you install Python, you have this one.
Yeah, it's coming. Yeah.
Yes, this is the basic one. It's saying 3.9. My version that I installed was 3.9, not the 3.10 you guys have. But again, what we're trying to do doesn't really matter the version. So far as it's something above 3.6, it's fine. And so just so we test it, I want you guys to just do something like this, and then we'll take it from here. And then it does something. So basically, this is just this is a shell, and it's just a place where you can play around. This is not where we're going to be writing code, but this is a place where you could just play around as well to make sure that Python is working properly on your system. So Python can do so many things, do mathematics, 2 + 2 is 4. It can do so many things like multiplication. So when it comes to the mathematical operations, it can easily do that as well. So that will give you 16 and all that.
So no need to define integer, float like that. No need to define, correct? It's automatically it will come, or it's a default. It will take integer or something like that.
So I didn't get your question.
No, no, no. You just enter the numerical value, correct? So you are not defining any integer or float or something like that. You
No,
never in.
no,
Yeah.
not for Python. So basically, let's say age equal. We'll start looking at that in the theoretical part in a few minutes. But let's say you have something like age is equal to 4, and you just say age is 4. You don't need to define or declare what the data type will be. We'll talk about that for those who don't understand what he's asking. So yes, this is just a shell for us. This shows clearly that Python is working on our system. So go on the website and then you go to Visual Studio Code and you download it, and then yes, you follow the
So
process.
okay,
Exactly.
accept. Next.
Next.
So is it fine? No? Anywhere we
Yes.
can store it, correct?
That's it. Next. Next. Install. This should take a few minutes, less than a minute, so few seconds, and that should be done. And you finish. So this is how Visual Studio Code looks like. And Visual Studio is going to help us to do a few things.
We didn't add any programs or something like that.
What did you say?
No, we didn't run any program, so that's the reason it's blank, correct?
Yeah, because you don't have any script. It's blank because
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
you have to create the script. So we're going to create our new script. The first one, we'll say just type print, just like what I'm doing. Just do exactly that. You could say maybe hello world, just that. And then once you do that, you could see that there's more like a dot up there. When anytime you see a dot up here, it means that your work is not saved. So let's save it. Let's go to File, Save As, and let's save it here, and we call it maybe Hello World. But when you save it, make sure you know where you're saving your work, because that's how you get it. I'm saving it in downloads, but you can save it in documents or anywhere you want on your computer. But it's called Hello World. And so now I have Hello World.
How do you save it?
So you
Which
go
one
to
we need?
File,
Okay,
Save
okay.
As, and then yes.
I save as. Yeah. Just